Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. Hope you're good. So today is the 9th of September, and wow, there's so much that's happened since I last came onto YouTube and talked to you all. I'm going to tell you, before I start, what we're going to be talking about in this video, and then we will get to it, okay? I have decided that every now and then I'm going to do videos like this, whereby we hit a number of different subjects in one go. So not in huge depth, but with enough depth to give us what we need. And effectively, it's a combination of a lot of the downloads of information that I get about a number of different things that are going on in the news, in the world, that I think are relevant to bring up in our light worker community. So, and it's going to be a variety of different subjects and different topics. And, you know, you don't need to get triggered if there are certain topics that I'm talking about that you don't agree with or don't resonate with. Over the course of the series of videos that we're going to be doing, we'll probably be covering all bases, all angles, and I think it's going to be fun. So I said that I was going to call it A Little More Conversation on Instagram, with a nod to Elvis Presley, but I think I might start calling that when you realise actually what I'm doing and when we've got a few under our belt, okay? So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about ABBA. Of course I'm going to be talking about ABBA, come on. We're then going to get serious and we're going to talk about some interesting developments regards to pandemic, people or bodies maybe not behaving in the way that you thought they may do, and it feels as though it's good. It feels as though we've got some green shoots here of hope. I'm going to mention Eric Clapton, who's written a brilliant protest song, and we'll talk about that. I also want to talk about solar plexus changes at the moment when we reorientate our direction and turn it up a dial and what that can do to our stomach area. I'm going to look at the Mexican earthquake that happened within the last 48 hours and the instance of blue light that was seen over much of where the quake happened, and also a little bit on walk-ins, and that is linked into a shattered mirror that those of you that are on my Instagram page particularly know about, but Facebook, I think I posted the picture as well. I had a mirror shatter, which feels very much about shattering through a matrix into a new reality, new timelines, so I'm going to talk about that. Let's get off and running then. So let me just light some incense. I don't think you can hear it. I can just about hear the raves. How interesting. I was about to say I can hear the waves crashing in against the shore. When the wind is in a certain direction, you can occasionally hear it from my house, and I can hear it, but I don't think it's going to pick it up on the camera. But yeah, the raves rolling in. Do you know, yesterday I was standing outside a shop waiting to be picked up. It was about to rain, and I was just watching a lot of the young people that were coming in because the college had just finished for the day, and particularly the girls. I don't know, just the fashions that they were all wearing. It was very flower power, you know, picking up on my last video where I was talking about that. I just really could feel their energy. It felt really beautiful. So, and last night actually on TV, there was a programme on Woodstock. I must admit I was a bit too tired to watch it, but I just thought, yeah, come on, we're on to something here. So yeah, ABBA. I mean, one of you put a comment last week when I put up my video about, I can't even remember what I called it, whatever my last video was called, where we talked about the re-emergence of hope and flower power and Woodstock energy and all of that. And somebody said, and of course ABBA are back. And I didn't know. So I replied and I said, well, they've never gone away, have they? Not for me. I just thought, why are you mentioning that? And then I thought, oh my God, they're back. It was the most amazing, wonderful surprise. And if there's any party poopers here who want to come in and say, we think they're crap, please just go away, or just don't comment, because you're not raining on my parade. I'm just in the joy vibe that they are back, and so are so many people. And I tell you what, I've really enjoyed the 2 new tracks that they've released, but I've also been enjoying the reaction videos. You know, these reaction videos where you just basically are watching somebody watch a piece of music for the first time. Oh my God, they are just so heartwarming, because you can literally see people's heart chakras opening. And there's a couple in particular, a couple of the guys that have been reviewing it, of all different ages, people that remembered ABBA, so it was like a return back to something, and just like total nostalgia and joy and hope, and like tears coming down. And also youngsters that were never alive during that era. Some of the reactions are so beautiful. I'm just in tears, but it's good. It's good. It's like a release, and it's an expansion of the heart chakra, and it's joy. And how interesting that concert that they're going to be doing, I think it's the spring of 2022. It's all of the 2s again. And of course, ABBA was always about the duo, the 2 duos making the 4, the quartet. I just think it's a bit amazing. And the words to that song, I still have faith in you. They are so applicable to so many different situations. I know they wrote the track because it's linked into, do we still have it within us to be able to do this, to still be ABBA, And then it's like, yes, we can. Yes, we do still have it within us. The spirit has returned. Fighters in a ring. The lyrics are beautiful, but you can apply it to so many other situations and our own lives. Do we still have it in us? Can we do this? Yes, we can. Oh, I've got like a great big smile over my face every time I think of their return. And, they are in there. I think one of them is 76. I think the youngest member of ABBA now is 72. They're in their mid-70s and they are rocking it. And if that doesn't inspire you, come on, are you alive? Yes, I just think it's brilliant. Right, so ABBA. Thank you. Somebody said, actually, you've saved 2021. And then I saw one of the other people on the reaction videos. They said something along the lines of, it's literally like a guardian angel has come down from heaven and given us a dose of joy. And my God, we needed it. Brilliant. Okay, moving on now to other things. Let's start with this Mexico quake. So there was a 7.1 earthquake in Mexico over the last couple of days. I noted it, but I also know that Mexico is prone to quakes. And when I heard the news, I just thought, oh gosh, not again. Hope nobody's hurt. I hope nobody was hurt. I don't know actually the outcome. I just know there was a quake. But then again, a few of you alerted me to the fact, well, what about the blue skies, Amanda? So what we're talking about is this. We're talking about this phenomenon, okay? I'm really hoping that you can't see what I can see on my camera now, because it looks like I'm in the crossfire. It's obviously a camera setting that I've got on. I just hope it's not on the screen. I'm just going to have to go with that. It actually is. Looks like I'm recording in 2 places. It says channel 1 and channel 2. This has never happened before. Okay, maybe this is something linked into the walk-in energy I want to talk about. I'll just have to ignore it. Right, blue skies. What this is about is something called, well, it's a bit contentious. Not everybody agrees exactly what it is. It's certainly not the end of the world, and it's certainly a positive sign, okay? It's not the apocalypse. What it's said to be is earthquake lights. Now, this is what resonates with me when I was looking at that. I thought it's earthquake lights. And what these are, and I'm going to talk about the spiritual significance of these when I've explained what they are, is it says the rocks of the Earth's crust tend to have certain imperfections. And with this friction, they release electrons or electrical charges. So what you're basically saying is that the seismic wave hits the tectonic plate or the tectonic layer. the friction of which emits the electrical charge that these lights create in the sky. They're called earthquake lights, and they've been documented since the 17th century. Okay, so we can understand there is a natural reason why these occur when we have something like earthquake. But what I was hearing was that it's as though the city or the place where it occurs it is obviously bathed in the blue light. Okay, they're bathed in a blue light, but they are bathed in a light that is created from something that has been hidden underground. It's been dormant within the Earth's crust. And the earthquake happens, it releases the particles that create the light. So what we've actually got is light that is filled with crystalline energy. So, I mean, this is so profound, because if you think about the ascension process, the awakening process, what it's really all about is our bodies turning from carbon-based to light. It doesn't mean that we float off and we're not here and you can't see and touch somebody, but it does mean that the awakening process is when the body is filled with more light. And light, when it comes in many different forms, and we all know what the forms are, and there are many beautiful forms, you know, the rainbows, the sunsets, the sunrises, etc. But what you don't often have the luxury of is this type of light, which has a different quality. And I'm just being seen, it's like seeds that have sprouted from the earth. And it's very, very healing to be in that light, basically. So it's like being given a light bath and being able to integrate that. Now, this can obviously, if you've just had an earthquake and you're in shock, of course, you're not necessarily going to think, you know, this is the great time to stand outside and just bathe in the light. I get that. But the thing is that it doesn't really go anywhere. It's, even if you can't still see it, because it was there in the air, it's still there energetically. And we can capture it and we can pull it down. We can also pull it down just by literally looking at the photographs, okay? The energy of what this represents, crystalline, blue, intense light, can be brought down into your body just by looking at a photograph, okay? So it's a bit like, you can use this as a meditation tool to bring the blue light into your body. Where does it feel as though that particularly wants to go today? So for me, it feels like it wants to go into my throat chakra, but for you, it could be something, it could be another different place in the body, okay? So quite a beautiful phenomena, and certainly something to shout about. Sorry, there's just something else wanted to come in. Hold on a minute. Blue light. What are you wanting to say? Blue light. Okay, that was Ashtar that I was just spraying. Commander Ashtar. He's saying it's a remembrance of home for some. And he's showing me Syrian and Palladian energy in particular. Those of us that resonate with the blue ray, and I would be one, there is a sense of home when we look at something like that. Whether we're actually lucky to physically see it with our eyes and we're in the place where it arises, but equally, as I say, we can draw it into us via the photograph. So it helps us to, he's saying it's like a nourishing soup for the soul, to be able to take in with your eyes, let your eyes feast on it, he's saying, and let it fill your stomach. Now, that leads me quite nicely onto something I wanted to mention with regard to our solar plexus. I don't know whether any of you have been feeling some stomach upset in the last week or so, or if not an upset stomach, just a churning stomach, a stomach that feels as though it's not quite in harmony. And this, if you've got this, and obviously, you know, be sensible. If there's something going on that is really bad, you need to go and see the doctor or check it out. But, you know, I'm just talking energetically here. What I was being told, because I've been feeling that, like a churning stomach, but not really upset, but just churning, it's not quite settled. And it was really unexpected. I was told this piece of information today, from Metatron, and he said it is because the solar plexus is churned up, but it's actually because your dial has been turned up to a higher frequency. So he's showing me a flashlight, because if you think about the solar plexus, it's where we store our power. It's our power center. It's where our wisdom is. It's where we can conquer fear. And it's the I am presence. It's the divine within ourselves. So when we go up an elevation in terms of frequency, the flashlight that effectively is within the solar plexus, which is sort of like your furnace, becomes stronger, and the physical body has to adjust to that. So I feel as though that's what's going on, and you just need to be gentle with yourself if you're experiencing this. And I'm actually feeling as though physical touch is something that is very important to soothe. And I'm literally talking about you touching your own stomach, you putting your hands onto your solar plexus and just allowing spirit to work through your hands, okay? So with Metatron, it's a case of just asking him to bring his energy through your body and to come through your hands, and just imagine maybe a beautiful golden light, or whatever coloured light you feel as though your stomach needs at this time, okay? But yeah, it's an indication of the fact that, yeah, it's been turned up a dial, and it's like anything, it's just the physical body having to catch up with the recalibration that's been happening for many of us within our solar plexus. Okay, so I want to pull a card actually as I'm talking about that. Just feel there's something else to say. Just pull one card. So linked into recalibration of the solar plexus, please. Nice. It says surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy. Oh, how interesting is that? We've just had the new moon in Virgo. Virgo, and I say that because I've got Venus in Virgo. So I align Venus and Virgo, but that doesn't obviously have to apply to everybody. So surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. Yeah, that makes complete sense, because again, the colour of the solar plexus traditionally has always been yellow, okay? When we upgrade, it becomes more golden in colour, because yellow is more about the analytical, rational knowledge that we may have, and gold is more about the nuggets, the wisdom, okay, enlightenment. But think about the colour of sweetness. The colour of sweetness is honey. It's that golden nectar energy. So it is confirming what I was feeling, which is that if you're resonating with what I'm saying about solar plexus changes, it's actually the fact that you've broken through some sort of barrier and you are experiencing more of the beauty and the joy in the world. And I said this to somebody who contacted me this morning on social media, and I, with a piece of, horror, let's say, in terms of what's going on in the world. And yeah, it's absolutely, there's all sorts going on, isn't there? And it's very draining. It's very negative to keep reading about that the whole time, which is why I say we need to be informed, but not obsessed with what's going on. We don't want to be around the gallows the whole time, as Metatron has repeatedly said for a couple of years now. But the point is, I said to them, yeah, okay, this is happening, but it's what I said in my last video, but you can still live a good life. It's to do with reorientating yourself, like I said in last video, like the sunflower, towards the light, towards joy, okay? And so the center of your being is starting to get used to that. If you've been giving it a diet of horror, and by horror, I'm just talking lower energy, and that comes in with what we're watching, what we're reading, what we're focusing in on. It doesn't mean don't be informed. It just means once you know about what's going on in whether it's Afghanistan, whatever, okay, I know I can send my healing, but I'm not going to obsess about it, because it's not going to serve me, it's not going to serve the world. I've got to retain my sweetness. I've got to retain my love of life. So what are you going to do to help you, to tempt you back into life, okay? What is the flower, if you're the bee, that is going to tempt you back and re-stimulate your senses and make you rediscover that actually life is sweet? Yes, there's darkness out there. Yes, this is happening. Yes, that is happening. But actually, every day there is sweetness in our world. There can be sweetness in your life, but you have to take of it. You have to taste it. So, I'm becoming quite, evangelical about sea swimming. I'm on day 6. It will be day 6 today. And I'm into the Wim Hof technique. So I'm into the cold water swimming. And it's just reignited my senses. I literally woke up this morning. It's grey. It's not warm out there today. In fact, we've got rain coming. And I thought, when can I go swimming? If you really knew me, you would know that, my God, that is so out of character. Because I can be, even though I'm quite motivated with work and all the rest of it, I can also be quite sloth-like, in other areas. I'm very capable of just sitting down in that armchair and eating crisps and drinking wine and just wanting to stare at the TV. I can be a couch potato very easily, like we all can. Today it was like, when can I go back to the sea? Can I go now? And then I was thinking, oh no, I've just had my shower. I'm not going to go now. It's literally like the whole day is focused around, when can I next be back in that freezing cold water? It brings sweetness, it brings joy, a bit like ABBA, okay? So that's the solar plexus information that I was feeling. Let's get to a more slightly controversial subject maybe, but I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to bring in nuggets of information I think are important and relevant. So, did you know that Eric Clapton last week released a song called This Has Got to Stop? And it's already had 1.9 million views in a week. And he is VAX injured, okay? He is not anti-VAX or anti-JAB. Like many of us, he's had all of them up to this one, and then he did have this one. He had the AZ one, and you can research it yourself. He's spoken out very publicly about his battles to regain his health, and it particularly has affected his hand. He wasn't able to move his hand for quite a few weeks, but he's had all sorts of issues arising from it, and he had 2 doses. And so he's come out and he's been very attacked publicly by many people for just being an anti-VAXER, which is unfair because he's basically just documenting, this is what happened to me. And, I'm really surprised because I trusted and I had faith that it was going to be okay, and it hasn't been okay for me. And he's now released this song. And I'm just going to read you some of the lyrics, but equally for those of you that sort of want a protest song or an anthem to get behind, this is the one. This is the one, guys. So it's called This Has Got to Stop, Eric Clapton. So these are his words from the song. This has got to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer. It's gone far enough. You want to claim my soul. You'll have to come and break down this door. I knew that something was going on wrong when you started laying down the law. I can't move my hands. I break out in a sweat. I want to cry. I can't take it anymore. This has got to stop. Thinking of my kids, what's left for them, and then what's coming down the road. The light in the tunnel could be the southbound train. Lord, please help them with their load. This has got to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer. It's gone far enough. You want to claim my soul. You'll have to come and break down this door. It's actually, those are pretty strong lyrics, and they obviously speak for themselves. And they detail his experience and what he now truly feels. But it's caught on with many people, and it's actually a really beautiful song. It's very bluesy. Eric Clapton is bluesy, I suppose, but I'm just drawing that to your attention because I think it's very powerful. And I also think if you agree with what he's saying, maybe give him a little bit of support, because he certainly had a backlash. And, I think ultimately what many of us are so frustrated about is the fact that the other side of the argument cannot and will not be heard in the media. And And that's not right in a free society. So in a free society, you should be able to talk about anything and give an opinion. But as we know, the other side of the debate has been very closed down, and that should really concern you. And if it doesn't, you know, next time it's going to be a different subject and it will concern you. Having said that, I really do believe there are some green shoots of hope. And I just want to, I can only really give you some examples, particularly from the UK, or there's a couple from the UK, because obviously it's where I live, but I'm sure there'll be other things that might be happening in other parts of the world. And it's really just to try and counter this very doom and gloom energy, which is just like we really are on a road to nowhere. We're going to hell, and it's like nothing can stop this, you know, where we're going, and it's just going to be horrendous. And I don't buy into that timeline. I totally do not buy into that timeline, because I believe we're master manifestors and we can turn this around, and we can bring the world back into balance. We can also bring the world back into harmony with each other, where we can stand with people of differences of opinion, be polite and respectful to each other, and just get on. And, you know, that essentially is the whole flower power energy. It's like, come on, we've just got to get on. So two things. This sort of ties into the walk-in type energy. Now, I know a few other people have been talking about walk-in energy recently. It isn't new, okay? It's something that has been talked about for many years. I think Dolores Cannon, she must have talked about walk-ins, I'm sure. I'm being told she did. So yeah, I must bring her back soon. There's a bit of a legal problem with channeling Dolores linked into her family, but who don't like it. But, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. I do feel she's hovering. She's like smiling at me. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with that. But anyway, yeah, walk-ins. I also, a year ago, made a video which was called, this is the title of the video, although I'll put it in the description box below. It was Vision Received Last Night, New Earth. And do you remember it was the one where I had a vision, a dream, where I saw all these children basically just arriving on a village green in pods. And they were symbolic, but they were also physical, of new souls that were coming in to help change the world. And yeah, I talked about that in my last video as well. And yes, I've heard from lots of you that actually, yes, I am suddenly pregnant unexpectedly, or my God, my baby did arrive a little bit sooner than I thought, but it was all fine, or whatever, you know. So yeah, we know the souls are coming in, but what I'm being told this morning is that that dream is also symbolic of new consciousness that comes in and arrives pretty much in a pod that you can either then pick up and integrate, or you can reject. And I'm being told it's a bit, and this is why certain people are might start to be behaving in ways that might surprise you in a good way. I have to put a word of caution here though. Just because they might show the seeds of it doesn't mean though that it lasts. What I mean by that is I'm being given the analogy of something like a kidney transplant, or any type of transplant, heart transplant. If you have, for example, a kidney transplant, there is a danger period, isn't there, where your body potentially could reject the new organ that's been placed into you. So when you have like a walk-in energy, which is basically a new consciousness that wants to come in and replace the old drive that you have within you, you literally have an old drive that is, you know, broken, corrupted maybe, or just redundant, you know, because there's a new model in town, you know, your physical body is upgrading, it needs a new system within it, so the new consciousness comes in. If you call it in and you invite it in, and equally if you're at the right level to be able to receive the new consciousness, because you can't put a brand new operating system into a body that isn't ready for it. But let's go back to the kidney transplant energy, because what Metatron is saying is that you can have the consciousness placed into you, but you can, it's a weird one. He's saying it can be rejected, which I don't know whether other people have mentioned this aspect of walk-in energy. I've not really seen that talked about. This is what I'm hearing. He's saying it doesn't happen in most cases. I'm being shown somebody like Boris Johnson, okay? So, you know, I did work with Boris Johnson, not physically, but, you know, energetically. On my channel, we did work with Boris Johnson when he went into hospital with COVID, whether it was a year ago, year and a half ago, I was asked to get a group of us together to send healing to him, to help him. And what I was shown was that there was a walk-in consciousness that wanted to come in, which would almost be like there would be a new Boris. And no, I'm not talking clones. Okay, I'm not talking clones. I'm sorry, okay, I'm just not, okay? I'm not talking a clone. A new consciousness that wanted to come into his body. And this is the bit where I hate triggering people. I'm being told he rejected it, okay? I'm being told it came in, but it was rejected. So it's like we still actually have the old Boris. We don't have a new Boris, we have the old Boris. That is but, rather than just throwing rotten tomatoes at Boris, this is where we have to take ownership as a collective. Because when you have a leader, for example, and there's a walk-in energy, like a consciousness that wants to come in to be a higher version of them, so they can maybe make decisions which are actually very beneficial for humanity. And like other world leaders would be scratching their head and thinking, hold on a minute, what the hell is he saying? You know, what is he doing? You know, we don't agree with that. You can't do that, UK. You know, the problem with that is that the collective energy, I'm talking here about the country, for example, we don't identify with the possibility that he, for example, or any of them can change. So when they have like this wave that comes through them, which is like, okay, there's a new consciousness here that wants to sit within this vehicle that is Boris Johnson, for example, and it's just starting to get settled, and he may be even not even conscious that it's happened, but it's like it's just starting to get at home. But then you've got the collective outside still wanting to throw the rotten tomatoes because we hate you, you know, we don't like you, you're a Tory, you're this, you're whatever. It gets rejected. It can get rejected. And it's sort of just... The thing is, it's like the Einstein thing, energy can never actually be created or destroyed. So it doesn't ever, it might leave that shell, that body, but it's still there loitering. Whether it tries to reattempt to go back in is an interesting question. Can it do that? It has an expiry date, is what I'm hearing. It has an expiry date. Who is this that's talking? Metatron, okay. What Metatron means by it has an expiry date is that, okay, he's shown me the analogy of something like a kidney or a heart transplant. You only have a certain period of time to keep a heart or a kidney alive before it goes into the host, okay? You can't keep it frozen forever. So it's the same with this consciousness. If it gets rejected from a body, it's sort of like hovering, and it has to then find another host, and it will then go to somebody else. So whatever that energy was that wanted to come into Boris a year and a half ago, it found another host. And I don't know who that host is. I feel it's female. Oh, okay, right, okay. Okay. He had a son, didn't he? He had a son. Yeah, there was a son. I feel it went to the son. But it came in through Carrie. How interesting. It went into Carrie, but it didn't stay within Carrie. Carrie's his wife. It went into the baby that she was holding in her womb. It was all happening around that time. So that boy, I think he's called Winifred or something, he's got it. He's got the new consciousness. And that's interesting because, you know, Boris Johnson, he comes from this family, you know, it's like blue blood, but it's bringing that new consciousness into that family line. I find that fascinating. Wow, okay. How do we get onto all of that? Boris Johnson. Anyway, oh yeah. It was to do with the fact that there may well be people or bodies on our planet at the moment who then start to behave in different ways. And it could be that it's because there's this new consciousness hovering or wanting to integrate within them. Now, we want it to stay, okay, we want it to stay, but you have to realise it might not. But even if it doesn't stay, it's still good because it can drop in, even if it drops in just for the moment where a decision has to be made, a key decision, it's important. I'll give you an example. The JCVI in the UK are a watchdog body that are linked into medical practices. And they had to bring out a ruling this week whether to adopt VAX or JAB for 12 to 15-year-olds in this country. The energy before the ruling was pretty much they're going to do it. They're just going to rubber stamp. And that's absolutely what, the likes of supposedly Boris, I want to say old Boris wanted, to JAB, the 12 to 15-year-olds. It was all being reported. It was all on course. And somehow the JCVI and whoever these people are, or even if it's just one or two people within that organisation, went against the grain in the last week, and they've basically refused to approve JABSs for under 16s. They've refused it. And they've basically said the benefits of doing so do not outweigh the potential risk. Now, it still could effectively be passed because the politicians could try and get in on a different angle and say, okay, well, I've heard this being said. Okay, so medically, you're saying we're refusing permission, but is there another aspect that we could look at to try and force it through? But I still want to take that as a green shoot of hope that the JCVI basically, against all odds, have come out and said, no, we're refusing it, we're not approving it. So the other piece that I noticed, and again, there are reasons for this, but I don't know if it's the head of the WHO, again, they've actually, very unexpectedly, they've come out and said, they've told countries like us, the UK, other countries which are ahead of the game in terms of the VAX scheme. Sorry to keep talking in code like this. This shows how ridiculous the whole situation is. It'll still get flagged up, I'm sure, with the note at the top that this is about this subject. Anyway, they have come out and said, countries like UK, hold off, please, any booster shots until 2022 at the earliest, because we were about, as a country, to roll out a programme of booster shots this autumn. Might still happen for the most vulnerable, but again, and yeah, they're saying it because it's like, but hold on, other countries need what you want for your boosters. So yeah, I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm just saying that if there's part of you that believes that the answer is not in just repeatedly JABBING every 6 months, because that's the route we're going down on with all the new variants coming through. If you believe that isn't the route to go down, it's like the WHO have put a pause on the next round. And if you think about the physical body, some people will have these and will be okay, but other people, maybe, I don't know, who just got other issues, or I don't know, maybe they're on a lot of other drugs or something, because there's not been any research done in terms of the interaction between this and all the other things that you might be taking into your body. Maybe even if it just gives the body time to pause before another one comes in, if that's what you want to do, it'll still be, I think it's a good thing, is what I'm hearing. Okay. I also wanted to mention, and this is fascinating, I find. I mean, again, I'm taking the emotion out of this, so don't shoot me down just because I'm not every 5 seconds, going emotional on you with regards to what is an emotional subject. I'm just trying to look from a higher perspective, and I'm giving you what I'm being given. The new variant, MU, okay, the new variant that is being detected, particularly in parts of America, I think it's also here in the UK, as a variant of concern. There are being reports that this might anyway be resistant to the JAB or VAX, okay? Now, you've got two choices there. You can either go into like, oh my God, I've had this, but now you're telling me there's a new variant and this isn't going to protect me, which is just total fear. But I'm hearing something really different. And again, this is spirit. Do you remember a few videos ago, I said that Mother Earth would find a way of bringing her children back together again, because she is sick to death of the fighting and the warring on so many subjects, but equally also on this subject, that we can't get to a place whereby somebody like Eric Clapton, for example, can have a reaction, can say something about it, can have an opinion about it, and that not be all right with some people, We should be able to respect differences of opinion. that if you want to have this, that's absolutely fine. And if you want to carry on having booster ones every 6 months, if that's what you choose, that's fine. You know, that's your choice. It's not what I'm going to do, but if you want to do it, do it. You know, it's your body. It's your sovereign. You have a sovereign right to do whatever you want to do with your body. But the thing with this new one, MU, is if it's resistant to any of these, it's a game changer in a positive way, actually, because one, it's going to force people to build up their natural immunity and to look after their immune systems. It's also going to bring people back together again who at the moment are not going into each other's houses because, like, you've had this or you haven't had this, you know, because then it really will be a case of we're all in this together. And it should always have been we're all in this together anyway. But this whole subject of JAB has caused such division within our world that we're not all in it together. It's like there's this segregation and increasing separation happening. So it could very well be nature's way of, you know, this is what viruses do. They mutate. That's what happens. It's nature. And if it's not this one, it can be another one that will be resistant. And then it will be, right, we're all in this together. How are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to come together? How are we going to look after each other? And it's not going to be a case of just putting more and more stuff into our body that we don't actually know what's going to happen in 20 years' time as a result of that. Okay, so it'll be nature's tough love if that does happen. And we're on course that could happen if we can't snap out of this division energy that we're in at the moment and be able just to hear each other out. That I respect you, whichever choice you make, okay? And I don't fear you just because of the choice you've made. And that works either way. I don't fear you. And I think this all ties in quite nicely to remembering that what is awakening? Awakening is the light body coming online. It's the light body coming online. I'm not one of these people that believes that you can't ascend if you've had this. I don't buy into that at all. I'm not going to diss any other teacher that's saying that. They're entitled to say whatever they want to say. And because that otherwise you're just shutting down free speech. But I don't particularly resonate with that. I believe that the human body is adaptable, anything is healable, and that light will find a way, basically. Light will find a way into our body. So I'm a bit distracted because there's a daddy longlegs trying to get in my window there. I'm sure there's a meaning to that. They're very tenacious, aren't they? Light is tenacious, you see. Light will find a way. Light will find a way into the most broken body. And now I'm not talking about a broken body linked into if you've had this. I'm just talking a broken body. You know, a broken body maybe because we've emotionally had the most horrendous things happen to us in life. You know, a broken body literally in that it is broken. You know, I'm being shown somebody like Michael Schumacher, actually. I'm being shown him in my mind's eye. He's got a broken body at the moment, but his light that is within him, my God, it must be strong. I mean, I'm being shown he's just got this bright light. But anyway, that's his private journey. I don't want to go into that. But yeah, I'm being shown his energy as a bright light on our planet. Never give up. He's never going to give up. Okay. So that was... Oh, yes, okay. And anything else to say? That was what I've got written down here. Let me... 44 minutes. That's quite a good little number. 44:04 as I finish off. Shall I just pull a couple of cards for us as I'm sitting here? Okay. So we are going into the weekend soon. We have the 9/11 anniversary, of course. Sending light there. Whatever you think about what happened 20 years ago on 9/11, let us just hold out the energy of light and truth and non-judgment and love on that day. That's the most important thing you can do. There's a lot of the programmes that are being rerun, aren't there, with all the, you know, the footage that, I mean, I remember watching live, and it's like, John was watching it the other night, and I went out the room. I thought, I don't want to rewatch this. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch the bodies falling from the skyscrapers again. Thank you very much. I don't need to re-see that. I don't need to re-see that. I know what happened. So on 9/11, I would ask you just to hold the light. To hold the light. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. Right, what am I asking these cards? Sorry, let me just focus. What am I asking these cards? Just for a message for the people watching. Okay, let's just do that. Thank you. Yeah, okay, I get that. This is very in tune with upgrade energy at the moment. That's funny, that card is on the bottom of the deck and that doesn't even belong in this deck. That has snuck in. A tall tale. We've been given a tall tale. We've got Pinocchio sitting there with his long nose that gets longer. The more that the lies happen, the longer the nose. The card that I pulled is this one, You're Not For Everyone. It's very much a nod to us needing to be unique, or us needing to own our own uniqueness at this moment in time, not playing it small, not worrying if you don't fit in. You're not meant to fit into old Earth. You're meant to create new Earth. You're meant to be different. It says embrace your weirdness. Face your true north. Absolutely. I was thinking that this morning, going back to the sea swimming. You know, I've just got to this place where I just don't care. I just want to go. I don't care what I look like. Well, I do care what I look like. But you know what I mean? I'm not fixated on it. I'm just like, I'm going to go there. And I tell you what, I do not look like Bo Derek getting out of the water. So many bloody stones. It's like, ooh, ooh. You know, it's not elegant. It's not elegant. I don't care. I'm me, you know. Be able to laugh at yourself. We need to be able to laugh at ourselves. Embrace who you are. Who you are is beautiful just as you are. All your flaws, all your weirdness, all of that. Okay, so that's obviously quite a clear message. But let's just, this tall tale, I'm going to have to just pull another card with that now. I mean, maybe it's obvious based on what I was just talking about 5 minutes previously, but anyway. What goes with a tall tale? What is that card? I don't know where that card's from. It's from another deck anyway. Right, what goes with a tall tale, please? Earth School. Yeah, Earth School. There have been some tall tales on Earth School. There have been some tall tales on Earth School. There have been some lies. There still are some lies going on. Oh, yes. But many of us can see through them. And we came because we could. We came because we could see through, as Eric Clapton says, the BS. We flew down to be able to do that. Some people, though, are still mesmerised by that tall story. Look at that character. Tell me more. Tell me more. When's the next episode coming? Where's my popcorn? You don't need the popcorn. You need to get out of that old mindset and just be you. Live your best life. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Take care. Hope you enjoyed the style of this video, dipping in and out of subjects. The other one, I was going to just think about, I'm going to pull a card for Justin Trudeau because I can't help myself. You know, how many more contentious subjects can we get into one video? All good. My gut feel, I haven't got time to do a big long video on Canada and its election, but I just intuitively feel he's in trouble. There's an election that he's called earlier than he had to. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Didn't Boris do that? Boris didn't... No. Who was it in our country did that? I can't remember now. Or was it Theresa May? Somebody who called an early one and it didn't work out. Anyway, never mind. Let's just focus on Justin Trudeau. What do we want to say about Justin Trudeau? Please let us be respectful in the comments. I don't want us to be dissing people. We are staying 5D here. Whatever you think of him, he has, you know, he has a soul mission and a soul purpose like everybody else. And he's worked quite hard. Some of you might say no, he hasn't, but we've got the 3 of discs, the 3 of pentacles. But we have got the 6 of swords on the bottom of the deck, which would imply moving away from that work situation. Or it being in transition. We've got the Ace of Discs, which is wealth, money showing up. Where is he in all of this? 2 of Discs, the energy of change. Yeah, and the Hierophant on the bottom of the deck, which is the energy of rule and order and law and government. I would say there are changes to come within Canada based on those cards. I think he's very vulnerable, and not sure it was the wisest move for him to maybe call that election. But anyway, we might look at that another time. Take care of yourselves. Much love. Have a good day. Get out and do something different. Remember what the message from earlier about all of that and the sweetness of life. Okay, bye-bye for now. Bye.